10 millimeter? Hey guys, we are on the C3 1978 Indianapolis 500 Pace Car Corvette. You know, I'm that vintage, right? So I was a youngster. I was a grade schooler in '78, and back then, it seemed like there was one race that everybody watched. Whether you were a NASCAR fan, off-road racing fan, dirt bike fan, whatever, when the Indy 500 happened, at least this was my experience, life kind of stopped, and that day, everybody watched the Indianapolis 500. Something about winged cars going 200 plus miles an hour, open wheel, you know, spectacular racing, spectacular crashes, that kind of stuff, all the stuff that gets viewers. I don't know what it was, but with the popularity of the race itself, pace cars, that was the evolution of the pace car. And one of the most iconic of all of them is this one, yeah, I believe. I mean, there's always, you know, there's pace cars out there today that, you know, pretty soon the next electric hybrid car, just because it's the next thing, is going to be a pace car. No, they took a Corvette and they made it pretty dang spectacular, made it stand out from the crowd, gave it such a beautiful paint job. Anniversary edition to start with, silver leather interior. Are you kidding me? To me, this is what made, you know, manufacturer sponsored pace cars happen in the first place. So last video, we got her all cleaned up, gave her the barium treatment. Now we got to get it serviced and start working on some of the issues with it. And I'm going to make a list on the whiteboard here, and we'll just start clicking them off one by one. But first things first, let's get a jack under this thing. We got to change the oil, and then we still have, we're going to find a tranny leak too. And then after we service it, the right hand stop and turn signal light, because that bothers me when I drive it. So let's see what we can get done today. Thanks for watching. Let's get you under here. All right. So, switch hands maybe. Oh, looks pretty dry. Oh, right there. There's our transmission leak. Looks like just the hose clamp. We'll try to tighten on that guy, and if it's at the end, it might be at the as tight as it gets, but we'll replace that clamp if we need to, I guess is what I'm saying. Might have to get some sway bar. Yeah, let's get some sway bar bushings for it, just because. Under here we've got a new silicone style pan gasket, so no leak, no motor oil leak. My finger doesn't even get wet there. What do we got over here? We got, looks like a newer fuel pump. We've got grease on the front end. It's really kind of interesting. The power steering in these is in this cylinder. It's not an arm style assist. It's in the cylinder. It's really pretty cool. Kind of like a ram assist. We've got some wetness here. I don't know. It doesn't appear to be from that. Okay, that's probably... Oh no, it's got a gear too. So it's got a power steering gear but no lines going to it. Yeah, so it's got a steering gear, but the power steering assist is in the form of this ram here. And we've got a little moisture here, but that doesn't make sense that it's in that spot. I'm thinking it's probably from when they were bleeding the brakes and they never just wiped it off. But otherwise, the power steering pump is dry, engine's dry. We might check the tightness on the valve cover gaskets, just because they look like maybe they've been treated on. And we're pretty good otherwise. So let's drain some oil. And yeah, no rust. Look at how straight this thing is. We got a little bit of a dent here where somebody bottomed her out, but like I said, splitter's in good shape. We may consider taking this splitter off and painting, doing a little body work to it and painting that section, that center section of the splitter. That's what I'm calling it. Whatever you want to call it, you can call it something different. Okay, there's a lower hose, and that's clearly a Napa hose, so don't necessarily have an issue with that. But in a perfect world, we would have done that with all GM parts. So that's probably why that upper hose doesn't fit as good as it possibly could. Looks like they had a little bit of a trouble getting that to seal, but it's not leaking right now, so everything else is really good shape. Junk CarQuest oil filter, that's coming off and it's getting a wicks. Not sure why we have this here. It doesn't leak, but we may at least rotate these clampulators just a little bit so they don't hang down and try to catch on stuff. Trans looks dry. Everything else looks pretty happy back there. It looks like we do have some new tubing and mufflators in the very back. So yeah, let's just do an oil change and be pretty dang happy. Oil change done. Yeah, oil was dark for not having any miles, but it was 3 years old. So I do have one gripe. You know, we talked about the use of, you know, average everyday parts on the rig. You go with what you go with, but you know, we got the you know, store brand oil filter, and then I mean, you can tell I had to use a wrench to get it off, but literally there were filter wrench marks on this from whoever put it on. I collapsed the body of the filter getting it off. I don't know why people are still wrenching these things on and over tightening them. You know, hand tight and then back it off a quarter turn and life will be really good. But no big deal. Now it's getting a Wix filter and castor oil. That's my oil of choice for, you know, this era of engine where you're unleaded fuel, but out of solid rocker leaded fuel territory. So that's done. I did not video any of it because, you know, most of you folks watching this channel probably can figure that out, and, you know, have your own little ritualistic way of changing your oil, and I'm just fine with that. I guess if you watch this channel and you don't change your own oil and you'd like to, just tippy tap. We do it just about every day here. We'll walk you through an average oil change and the things to do it right and make it so the next time you do it, it's easier on you as well. We've got that transmission leak located. Let's get under there and I'll show you. Hopefully we can just tighten up that hose. So this is what's leaking. And if you didn't already know, folks, hose clamps with this size screw head, 5/16. Hose clamps like the fuel line size, like that guy there on the fuel pump, quarter. And they're a lot easier to tighten and loosen with a nut driver than they are with a screwdriver, just because you can really get into them. Okay, we tighten that guy down about a turn. Maybe a little more. We're going to get his brother up here too, just because I want to. Jalen stopped by after school, between school and track practice. I think we are going to replace that upper radiator hose, and that way it'll fit just right. And then, like I said earlier, we're going to go ahead and get sway bar bushings for the front, and then we're pretty much wrapped up here for servicing. It got greased the last time it was serviced. Looks like it's got new shock. Yeah, new shocks in the front. Nice job. Again, probably not GM shocks, but hopefully they're, you know, decent quality. But anyway, so we're kind of wrapped up here. We got our transmission leak tightened down. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll clean this up here before we jump out. But we'll get sway bar bushings ordered, oils in it, new filters on it, wicks. If I didn't say so, it's got a wicks. And yeah, we're good to go. So we're going to go to the back now, and we'll just as well jack up the back to kind of take a look around, make sure there's no huge problems. We might take a look at that radio antenna, because you have to get to it going up underneath the fender. So we'll take a look at that. Hey, real quick while I got you down here, here's something we're contemplating doing. So you have your nose piece here. It's bumped into a couple things, and there's some cracking in the paint, but the paint looks really nice, and we don't want to mess with the original paint up here. The flares are pretty good. There's a little bit where they've scraped here and there on both sides, but they're pretty good overall. However, the center section of the splitter, it's taken some abuse here and there, and we're contemplating popping just this center section off and painting that. What do you guys think? Should we or should we not? I mean, we've kind of decided we're not touching the paint on the rest of the rig. Are we doing more harm than good by taking this down and so it doesn't show the yeller? I'm leaning towards yes, just because it's, in the big scheme of things, it's not going to mean a whole lot, but it will look really good at your average cruise night car show and shine. So let me know what you guys think. All right, let's look under the back end of the Vette, and I'll point out a couple things. First of all, we got brand new spare tire. They came with big meats, and then your spare tire was a skinny guy. That's never been used. Still got the nubbins on it. Look at the yellow piece. Is that plastic piece like I talked about? They made them yellow for some dumb reason back in the Dre. But look how clean. That's up the back of the fiberglass deck lid, and then they use self-tappers to secure it to the plastic, I guess, butt cone? I don't know, the back plastic piece. This all through here, all this piece here. But anyway, look how, I mean, that tells you right now this car has 38,000 original miles. The wire loom is real clean. There's no rust under this car, you know, other than just barely surface rust on stuff, but really cool survivor car. Anyway, couple things. That guy here, let me see if I can. Oh, I can. There's a little bit of metal in this old girl. It's a full frame car. We'll show you that too. This guy here, that's your antenna motor. That's your antenna mast right here. And we got to get that whole thing out and see what's going on there. We do have newer, oh, excuse me. Woo! Excuse me. We do have a new dual outlet from the catalytic converter and 2 newer muffletors on the back, so that's cool. We've got the black, they're Sensatrack shocks, so I'm sure that's what's in the front, so we're okay with that. Again, Corvette independent rear suspension, so you have a divorced center section and then a little drive shaft going to each wheel. So we're gonna get the grease gun down here and make sure we grease those U-joints and stuff. That looks like maybe it got skipped by the last guys. Yeah, but no leaks. This guy here is the battery box. There's your main vehicle ground. It's grounded to the chassis there. And then this guy, let me see, this is, that guy is the front mount for the center section. So you don't have your center section of the axle is solid mounted in the car minus, you know, bushings. And then all of your suspension is handled through this multi-leaf horizontally mounted leaf spring. So kind of interesting. What I don't see, we have some, these are kind of locator arms that will help with the alignment on the back of the car. But what I don't see is any kind of a sway bar, anti-sway bar, anti-roll bar, whatever you want to call it. You Corvette folks, tell me why I don't see that. Tell me what part of this does that I'm not aware of. But as far as what we're concerned with, we're gonna check the fluid in the rear differential. We're gonna grease the U-joints. The bushings back here look okay. We'll let those ride. And then the other thing is my pet peeve, personal pet peeve. I hate it when people put exhaust clamps on just the easy way. You shouldn't look under a car like this and see exhaust clamp bolts hanging down everywhere you look. So we're just going to loosen those up and rotate them all so that you just don't see the bolt in. I don't like it. And then we have one extra bracketry up here. It's not making any noise, but it doesn't appear to be needed either. We'll decide what to do there. We might just leave that. So yeah, so radio antenna, U-bolts, and checking the diff fluid and greasing the rear drive line. And that's about it back here. Really clean old car. Here's your plug, your fill plug for the diff. Most of these guys are, you can put a 5/8 switch on them. This goes for like Dana 44s, unless they're a Allen head plug. We might not get enough room to turn our wrench though. How are we gonna how are we gonna do that? 5/8 wrench or 5/8 square plug equals 3/4 inch full point socket. I'm sure some of you already knew that, but we're back at it now. Okay, got her loose. Should be able to come in here. Oh yeah, she's seeping already. So as you get to your last thread on these pipe plug type things, and you start to bring them out, you'll see that liquid there start to get wet. That means that there's liquid behind there and it's full. So we're just gonna say, yep, checked, and tighten her back up. These U-joints may not be serviceable. By the way, posi rear end bonus. Nope, there's no zerks on these. Let's look at this side just to make sure. That's a Spicer. That might be an original unit. And even that one is, there's no zerk. Look at this inside one. It looks pretty original too. And no zerk, so then we better give them a good wiggle test. Yeah, they feel good. Alright, I guess we're not greasing those. Alright, hey, let's get that antenna out of here so we can play with that on the bench. Sorry, I can't fit you in this space. I like to give you like your own close-up view, but it just ain't happening here. So you're just gonna have to ratcheting wrench. How did they do this before ratcheting wrenches? That's what I want to know. 2 way up here. Yep. Nope. No, maybe. Nope, that's not. How about now? No, I think 3/8. Just the wrong size. 7/16 ratcheting wrench. There we go. Yep, there's one. Okay. I mean, what? Why is it not? No. No. Okay. 3/8 ratcheting wrench. There we go. Now, there's no way. 10 millimeter? If they used 10 millimeter in 1978, I'm gonna protest. 10 millimeters is better than that. There we go. 10 millimeter. Sir. Son of a beaches and sandcastles. 10 millimeter in 1978. I'm embarrassed by that. Oh well. Let's go down here now and see what kind of oddball socket that is. I'm gonna try 7/16, but who knows? Oops. Who knows what it actually is? We need the little universal thing here, so. Oops. Oh, yeah, 7/16. Get this one. Ooh. Jeez. There we go. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not opposed to metric fasteners. I'm just opposed to United States car manufacturers using them in my childhood times. I had no idea. Well, not proud of it, but I chased this 3-wire circuit all the way to the B pillar behind the driver's door, and I'm not gonna chase it anymore. There's supposed to be a connector behind the rear speaker on the driver's side where the grommet comes into the body. There is none on this particular car. I didn't find it, so I cut the 3 wires. We've got good self-sealing heat shrink connectors. When we fix this and go back in, we'll do it right. Let's get this off and see what's going on with the mechanism inside.
guy's going to be right there. Take him off. This guy's got to be on top of that. Take him off. And this guy. Okay. Let's mark. And we're going to mark him with that pin as well. So it's clear. Never had one of these apart, and yeah, goes there. Here is our broken cable. Does this guy come out doing something? Aha! Okay, that's out. Let's see if we can get the cable out and look at it anyway. We should be pretty close now. Let's see if this will give us the other end, ow, of this cable. Nope. It's just, oh, okay. Fail. We failed. We will order one. It's 44 years old. Let's get a decent replacement. Might cost $100, might cost $2. I don't know. We're gonna go look. Okay, we're gonna order the antenna, but for now, see what I'm talking about? You look under here and you see that clamp there, that clamp there, and then even up here, that clamp there, that clamp there. We are going to do something about that. And it'll be really simple, but it's going to make a lot of difference. So just think about what it looks like, you know, kind of aesthetically, so to speak. Pretty proud of that word. And then I'll show you once we get them turned around what it looks like. All right, so we moved our clamps on both sides, and now instead of bolts sticking down, you just see the U-bolt strap on the hangers up here and down where the pipe comes into the muffler. So a lot cleaner looking, in my opinion. It's one of my pet peeves is, you know, bolts sticking down from the bottom of a car. But anyway, looks a lot cleaner. Let's dive into this right turn signal real quick, and maybe we can knock that off of our list of fixes. So what we have here is a stop turn signal that is doesn't flash, and Jalen said when he was following me it appeared as though when he tried to put it into use, the bulb, the park light also went out. So probably got some socket issues going on here. There's a small crack in this lens, so we're going to be very careful. Remember, now we've got a fiberglass bodied car. Come on. And this back piece is plastic. So what does that tell us when it comes time to do electrical stuff? Oh, okay, that's the entire housing. Interesting. There it goes. Okay. All right, let's save on that lens. I'll have to do a little polishing on that guy. And then, okay. So, socket isn't horrible. Bulb isn't horrible. Both filaments seem to be in order. Ground. Oh, okay. That might have been the problem. I just pulled the ground apart. Let's try park lamps. Okay. Lost signal here. Oh, now we got it. Got a little bit of a loose socket. What's happening is these are just two bands, metal bands down in the bottom, and they flatten out over time. So you reach in here with a pick and you just take them and you pull them up just a little bit and give them a little bit of life. Otherwise, socket looks pretty nice, actually. Now let's see what we got. Now we got to check brake lights. Not sure how to do that by myself, but we'll give it a shot. You guys just tell me if we got brake lights or not. We put our lens back in. I think we're good. All right, guys. Well, that's it for, I guess, this episode of the 78 Pace Car Corvette. Fixed the taillight, got the antenna out. Trying to fix it on the bench was a fail, but we'll get a new one of those ordered. We'll get that installed. Checked out the front end, changed the oil, did some stuff under the back end. We saw that. So we're in pretty good shape. Got a lot of little odds and ends fixed up today. Oh, bonus, figured out just now, it's got an 8-track tape player. So somebody out there, if you've got an 8-track of some hardcore old, jam and country or rock and roll, let me know. I want to see if the 8-track works, and I don't think I have any. But yeah, we'll dig into it again tomorrow. We're going to fix on that door, and I don't know, a couple other things. Start working on the interior a little bit. Oh, the clock. We got to get the clock working. So, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for following along on the social medias and whatever else. We will see you on the next one.